When did a piece of broken military equipment work better than the replacement? I found out during our deployment to Iraq when our supposedly useless radio ended up saving 8 lives. We were stationed at this remote outpost near the Syrian border. Small team, maybe 20 guys, stuck with equipment that looked like it belonged in a museum. The worst piece was this ancient radio in our communications bunker. Thing was older than most of our soldiers. Huge, heavy, covered in duct tape and scratches. The display flickered constantly. Half the buttons didn't work. Every new guy who saw it would shake their head and ask why we hadn't thrown it away yet. Staff Sergeant Mike kept promising we'd get new digital radios soon. State-of-the-art stuff. Crystal clear signals, encrypted channels, GPS integration, the works. Just had to wait for the next supply convoy. Meanwhile, we suffered with the ancient beast. Looked embarrassing during inspections. Made weird crackling sounds. Sometimes took 5 minutes to establish contact with headquarters. Everyone complained about it constantly. The replacement radios finally arrived in March. Sleek, modern, everything we'd been promised. Digital displays, satellite connectivity, automatic frequency hopping. We were thrilled to retire the old dinosaur. Moved it to the storage shed where it sat gathering dust. New radios worked perfectly for about 6 weeks. Clear signals, instant connections, zero problems. We felt like we joined the 21st century. Then came the sandstorm. Massive wall of dust that lasted 3 days. Visibility dropped to 0. Temperature hit 120 degrees. Sand got into everything despite our best efforts to seal the equipment. Day 2 of the storm, our patrol got pinned down by sniper fire 2 miles from base. 5 wounded, including our medic. They needed immediate evacuation but couldn't move without covering fire from our position. I grabbed the new radio to coordinate rescue. Dead. Completely fried by sand infiltration. Tried the backup radio. Same thing. Sand had gotten into the digital components and destroyed the circuitry. 8 soldiers were bleeding out in the desert while our fancy equipment sat useless. That's when Danny, our youngest soldier, spoke up. What about the old radio in storage? Everyone looked at him like he was crazy. That piece of junk barely worked on good days. How's it gonna help in a sandstorm? But we were desperate. Had nothing to lose. Hauled the ancient radio back to the communications bunker. Plugged it in, half expecting it to explode. Instead, it fired right up. Same flickering display, same crackling sounds, but it was transmitting. Not only transmitting, but reaching frequencies the new radios couldn't access. Somehow that old analog circuitry cut right through the atmospheric interference. Signal was crystal clear. Within minutes, we had helicopter support inbound. Medical evacuation coordinated. Artillery strikes called in on sniper positions. All through a radio we'd considered worthless. The rescue mission went flawlessly. All 8 soldiers evacuated safely. Snipers neutralized. Complete success using equipment we'd literally thrown in the trash. Turns out older analog radios handle extreme weather better than digital ones. Sand can't fry vacuum tubes and analog circuits the same way it destroys computer chips. Military engineers had known this for decades, but procurement offices love buying shiny new technology. Sometimes newer isn't better, especially in combat conditions where reliability matters more than features. We kept both radio systems after that. New ones for normal operations, old one for emergencies. That ancient radio served 3 more deployments before finally dying of old age. Last month, I got a letter from Danny. He's now a communications specialist training new soldiers. First lesson he teaches, never throw away equipment just because it looks outdated. He keeps a photo of that beat-up radio on his desk. Caption underneath reads, "Sometimes the oldest tool is the sharpest one." His students think he's crazy until he tells them about the sandstorm. The radio is in a military museum now. Plaque says it saved 8 lives during Operation Desert Shield. Doesn't mention that we tried to throw it away the week before.